ISL Max.
Wagwan. I'm Alia Atkinson from Jamaica.
Hi, this is Guido.
I am Kira Toussaint.
Konnichiwa, I'm Tepe Morimoto.
Hi, this is Sydney Pickram, and you're listening to the London Roar podcast.
The Roar have made it to the ISL Grand Final for 2021 with an exciting final match in prospect. I'm Steve from Pullbuoy, and this is the London Roar podcast. For this episode, Katie and I tracked down two London legends in Alia Atkinson and Guido to look forward to the season finale. So let's cross to Eindhoven and get into it. Me again, just a quick apology before we start that the Eindhoven Wi-Fi wasn't playing ball, so the audio quality isn't as good as we'd like. Hope you enjoy the podcast. So we're joined in Eindhoven by Alia Atkinson and Guido, two stalwarts of the London Roar team. Welcome to the London Roar podcast. Great to have you with us. Guido, congratulations on making the final once again. How's the team feeling about making that grand final?
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to talk with you. To ask a little bit what's happening here in Eindhoven. You know, like the team is great. We made it to the final. It was our first goal, you know, and we know we could do better. There are some races that we can win, or some races that we can avoid the jackpot. So it's going to be a nice strategy with the coaches, and I'm really excited for that. Really happy for that. You know, like counting the days, and I think London's gonna do a really nice match at the final.
Alia, we assume that making the final sort of at least would have been a goal for the team at the start of the season. So you've accomplished that step now. Do you think the team feels satisfied with that, or are they pretty hungry for more?
No, I think from the beginning we weren't satisfied coming in. I think they're going into the playoffs and then losing that first one and coming in second. We've just been hungry as each match goes on. And I think that really just built our appetite to want more.
That's great. We're really looking forward to it. And then, Guido, looking back to the final match at the weekend, it wasn't quite certain that you were in the final, but it looked like it was really, really likely. So there were a lot of team changes. Did you find it hard to focus at that match, or have you already got an eye on the final?
We always want to be in the final, you know, like, well, you know, like it would be hard because we have like 5 strong teams, and LA and Toronto, they were fighting against like really close, but we knew already that we had like really good races in Napoli a month ago, and then we could like really improve ourselves, resting a little bit more, and that's what we did. You know, like we have a chance just like the other teams, and from my point of view, we can win. You know, like we are really, really excited and really hoping we can like improve a little bit and take the gold in the final.
You in that match, Guido, you kind of had a really good first day and a lead over Energy, and you started really well on day 2, and then sort of Energy came back into it and got away a bit at the end. Not least because of Ilya Shimanovic. When you're watching, how does it feel that one swimmer can make such a big difference to the match? I mean, I think London were 6 or 7 points ahead, and then he did that massive jackpot, and then Energy are 30 points ahead all of a sudden. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, he's doing really good, you know, but the key, I think, is to avoid the jackpot, you know, because we've been like 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th in that race. So if you can like swim a little bit faster, you know, like avoid those jackpots, there won't be a big difference, you know, like the last match. So yeah, we have that race, but we do also have our wrong race that we can still do in jackpots, you know, like, so I think we gotta focus and put some energy in each race, but especially avoiding jackpots. That will be a big difference.
And Alia, we saw you swim quite a lot this weekend, 5 events, including the 100 fly. You said in your post-swim interview that the fly helps you get going for the breaststroke. As someone who doesn't understand breaststroke, can you tell us a bit more about that?
I do enjoy the butterfly. I think it does help with the body positioning. It's very similar to the breaststroke. I feel like it does help with getting the right body position, having your body feel a little bit on top of the water, which is what I was missing for my breaststroke. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to give it another go. It's always exciting going out and doing different events. But coming into the final, everybody's really just focusing on their pet events, seeing where we can avoid the jackpot, seeing where we can put our strengths in, but also as a team coming together and trying to figure out where we can put other spots in to not get that jackpot or to not get any minus points. And it's really a strategic game, and I'm really proud of the way the leadership team and the coaches staggered it. But we'll see if it plays out.
And Ali, you've got to be pleased with your form so far. I mean, there's been some really quick swims from you, and those jackpots in the 100 breaststroke and the 50 breaststroke at the weekend as well.
Yes, I think that's one of the things that we were talking about is, can we get our hands on the wall to get those jackpots? So when they do come from Cal or LA or Energy, we'll be able to have our own as well. And yeah, it's just fine tuning those little things and hoping you get your hands on the wall quick enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, the jackpots, as we've seen, make a big difference. So the more we can get of those, the better. And that's one of the things that's kind of unusual about ISL racing. And Guido, you've been racing internationally for some time, but this format really seems to suit you. What is it you like about racing in this way?
Yeah, ISL brought to swimming something that we don't have in Brazil. We don't have at home, because we are like too far away from the other countries. And just like the Australians, and having more race is the reason to improve your stroke. You have more opportunities to swim. So I'm really enjoying that, racing every time, improving my turns, improving my start. I'm really happy to have this opportunity, and I'll keep pushing to improve a little bit more, and maybe swim for my best at the final.
We spoke to Freya and Tom last week, Guido, and it sounds like you've definitely made an impression on your teammates. Freya picked you as the person from London Raw that she would like to team up with in a zombie apocalypse, and Tom said that you were very wise. Do you share your experience with your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the oldest here, and we talk about that, and but I think everyone here has a lot of experience, they know how to deal with that, with the pressure. They know how to deal with the practices. We have a lot of coaches, and so I think I'll be whenever they need, I can talk about that. But I think they're ready, to do their own races, and even the boys and more younger, it seems to me they're really ready for it.
Well, let's take a look forward to the final coming up. I mean, we've touched on it a number of times already, but obviously it's a repeat of the last two finals with the LA Current Energy Standard and the Cali Condors. Alia, you've raced all these teams lots already through the preliminary rounds and then these playoffs, especially LA, who you've had in every playoff match. Does that make it easier because you know where their strengths are, or how will you approach it?
It's weird because familiarity brings competency. Because we've raced them a lot, we already know what to expect somewhat, but then that's when we become complacent, and I think that's where we need to be more hungry. Because we know them, because we know what they are able to do, that's when we need to be a little bit more sharper on our techniques and our energy levels and our aggression, because we can't accept anything for fast. Many things can happen, especially with the jack point. So it's easier to plan ahead. But that being said, anybody can taper down and be the sharpest they've ever been this whole season and surprise us all.
And I think that's one of the things that we like, is that even though it's the same four teams, the jackpots will play out differently because different teams have different strengths. And so nobody can sit here and say, oh, well, it's going to be this team running away, because where they were strong before, another team may stop them getting those jackpots.
Yeah, definitely correct. And especially what I like, even though it's the same 4 teams as the last 2 seasons, the players have changed up a bit. So swimmers I haven't really swam against, even though it's the same team. They are coming from other teams that didn't make finals before. So it's the first time for them as well. So seeing the excitement, seeing that they're making it to the finals and want to do the best for their team, anything can really happen.
Well, I'm sure it'll be good. Guido, you've touched on it a little bit already. What can we expect from you this weekend? You know a little bit off your best times from this season in the last match, but is that all part of the bigger plan to be, top speed for the final?
Yeah, that's a big plan, and we've been working for that. I have the words after the final, but I'm gonna shave for this one. So I'm really excited to do it. And we have a lot of backstrokers here, like big champion, like Ryan Murphy, like both Russians. But yeah, I'm gonna do 100% in the race, and we'll see how it goes. The points are really close, like each team has like a chance to win. Because of the draft last year, the teams are a little bit more the same, and it's gonna be like points to points. We gotta do like think about each race, like it's gonna make a difference, huge difference.
You mentioned the backstroke field there. We spoke to Kira a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying how good the women's backstroke field was. I mean, you mentioned that the men's there with likely Ryan Murphy, Klement Kolesnikov, Evgeny Rylov, Coleman Stewart, plus you and Christian. I mean, that's a really high quality field. How's it been racing these guys week in, week out? And do you like the challenge?
It's really good. Like right now, after 3 seasons of ISL, I feel at home. Like really like those guys. We talk a lot, so I feel at home. I feel comfortable doing that, and it's been like fun for me. Like really, I'm really enjoying. Like I'm already 34 years old, and really enjoy to swim with these guys, and I hope we have a long life for the ISL.
And I always look at the backstroke, both men's and women's, are such a strong area for London Raw. Does the fact that you've got such a strong teammate in Christian give you more confidence when you're in those showdowns?
Well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've been me and Christian. We've been together in London War for years, so we know each other. Like we talk about the feeling, and we could like push each other even in the practice right before the races. So yeah, I feel we're feeling great. Christian is doing like his best times, like national records. And now is the time to go even faster, like.
And Alia, we got the impression towards the end of the playoffs there are a few tired bodies maybe in the team. Is the extra couple of days gap between matches helpful?
Yes, very much. It's great to just get your body into a better position and recover properly, but also mentally to relax for a couple of days without the anxiety of the meet is coming any day now. I think that really helps us, especially over the weekend when people could just relax and have fun. What
will you be doing, from between the meets? I mean, you've obviously had a couple of easy days. Is it all light work and speed and skills, or is there some tougher stuff coming in this week with obviously World Championships coming up afterwards?
Yes, I think for the most part, everybody wants to be in the best shape they can for the finals, even though they have Worlds coming up. So they might be jumping back into a little bit more hard training after this. But for this week, it's more just fine-tuning, getting that fast reaction switch, and just seeing if we can improve on the times that we've done so far. Now,
the skins may well be key in this final. We've seen them be very important in many matches through the playoffs, and you've both swum the skins at one point or another through this playoff season. Alia, how would you feel about taking that challenge on, if the match has gone to the skins and women's breaststroke has been picked?
Yeah, I think we definitely have a good shot. Anya and I, or Jenna and I, or Freya and I, we have such a vast majority of athletes on this team. that anybody would especially love the chance to do it. I think it'll definitely be a close one as well. Maybe not as close as the backstrokers, but I think it's a great opportunity to get up and have your team support you and just be there with you.
And Guido, are you hoping backstroke comes out of the hat for the men's skins?
Yeah, I think so, because we have a lot of swimmers, good swimmers here, and good for the show. So they might pick the backstroke. And for me, I'm a sprinter, so it's a little bit harder to, like, if I go to the final in the skins, 3 races all out, for me it's a little bit harder. But I can take the first one, the second one, and you'll see at the final what happens.
Well, we hope the match is exciting. It may well go to the skins, and we'll hope for a positive outcome if it does. But let's move on a little bit again. We like to have a little bit of fun on this podcast where we can find out a little bit about you and your teammates. So we're going to get the raw material, as we have been doing for the last few weeks. Your number one podcast for lion-based puns strikes again. So we've got a couple of sort of quickfire questions that Katie will pose to you in turn, and then we'll see where we go. So Katie, have you got the first question?
Yeah, so we've got 3 questions, very similar to what we did with Freya and Tom last week. And then we've got a bonus question for Guido at the end. So question number 1, we've seen some creative event entries over the past 3 seasons. And, for example, we've had Tom Dean in the 200 breaststroke, and we've seen Freya popping up in the breaststroke skins. But what would be your nightmare event lineup? Coming to Alia first for that one.
200 back.
Oh, that was my prediction. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
You're not going to step up for the 200 back?
No. Not at all. I will do any other event.
How about you, Guido?
Oh, there's nothing worse than the 400 medley.
God.
Well, this might be something that we need to speak to you about then. So I'm going to skip to question number 3. Now you've said that. So we asked Emma and Kyle this a few weeks ago, but we thought we should also put it to both of you. So here's the scenario. It's down to the wire in the ISL final, and you've both been chosen to swim the skins. And you're in the call room waiting for the skins, and you hear that Energy Standards General Manager James Gibson has kidnapped Sydney and Duncan just before the 400 IM. Do you volunteer to swim in their places?
Well, no, because there are many other athletes who would be fired up and ready to go. Yeah, that's my answer.
How about you, Guido?
Well, I would, but it would not be good for the team, because I would, we'll have the biggest jackpot that we ever seen, I think.
Which is your worst stroke of the medley, Guido?
Breaststroke, definitely, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so question number 3. Last week we asked Freya and Tom which skill they would like to steal from their London Raw teammates. Tom wanted to steal Guido's language skills, and Freya said she'd like to steal Emma's speed. So what would you two choose? And it can be a skill either in the pool or out of the pool. Guido? It's a difficult one.
I could steal Alia's happiness, because she's always smiling and I like it. And maybe I'll grab some of that.
Nice.
That's a good answer. How about you, Alia?
That's funny because I am right on board with stealing Guido's languages. Like the way he picks it up so easily. I was like, I don't know how you do that. I've been struggling for years, and he was like 5.
Well, it's a popular choice, clearly.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Guido, a bonus question for you, and I think you alluded to it earlier, but this is the key question that everyone wants to know is, for the final, will the beard be staying or is it going?
No, it's coming off. It's keeping me really warm because it's freezing outside here. But yeah, it's coming off, definitely.
It's all in for the final.
Only for the final. All for the one more for the London Roar. One more for the Roar.
One more for the Roar.
One more for the Roar with no beard. So very, very good. Very pleased to hear that that the final is being taken that seriously. So very good. We will let you go at this point because you've obviously got to get yourselves ready for that final. Alia, there was just one thing I wanted to ask, if I may. There were reports during the Olympics that maybe you decided to bring your swimming to an end. Have you made any decisions like that? I mean, we know that the London Roar fans would love to have you back on the team next season, if not.
Yes, I know. It would be exciting to continue with the ISL, but December 22nd will be my last swimming competition. Yeah, right after Worlds.
Oh, well.
Oh, we'll be very sorry to see you go, but that means you could probably have the best Christmas of your life. Celebrate like you've never been able to before.
Yes, very much so.
All right. Well, we're obviously sad to hear that as London Roar fans, because you've been a fantastic swimmer for your whole career and brilliant for the London Roar these last 2 seasons. So we'll be very sorry to hear you go, to see you go, but we'll say congratulations on a fantastic career and thank you for all the fast swimming.
Oh, thank you guys.
But coming back to the final, we'll obviously wish you both, Guido, Alia, all the best for the final. We hope to see lots of jackpots from you both and hopefully a good result for the Roar next week.
Thank you very much. We will need that. Keep cheering. And hope to see you guys soon.
Hi, I'm Duncan Scott, and you're listening to the London Roar podcast.
Fantastic to hear from Alia and Guido over in Eindhoven, and great, Katie, that the team has made it through to the grand final.
Yeah, I think it's great that it's the third year in a row. They're looking really strong, and I think as they mentioned, there's still little tune-ups that can be done. People can have a little bit more rest. Hopefully, we can maximise who we've got in each event and try and get some more of those jackpots.
Well, it was. I think you and I talked about it. It was a solid team performance in that final playoff match. Lots of people contributing through the weekend, and obviously the team will get better to the final. We will see people more into their main events, as Alia suggested. We'll see Emma McKeon come back in, and that should lift that performance again.
I think so. I think having Emma back, being as strong and as versatile as she is, and then everyone just having a little bit more rest. I think, it's a really difficult time of year anyway to just keep up training, stay healthy. And I think, with all the news going on at the moment, it must be particularly difficult for all of them out there. And it has been an awful lot of racing for people who haven't come out of the college system. This is far, far more than they're used to doing, just sort of back-to-back meets with only a few days in between. So I think that extra few days is going to make a massive difference. And I think we will see a much more sort of energetic team in the final. And that's not to say that they, haven't been throughout the playoffs, but I think there's room for more.
And Guido in particular was talking about the jackpots. You mentioned jackpots there. They're likely to be something that decides or has a big part in deciding who wins the grand final. So as much as winning the jackpots, and Alia took a few last week, and undoubtedly there'll be a few more this week. It's not giving up points in jackpots as well is going to be vital, particularly on that second day. I mean, we talked last week about day 2 being the weaker of the 2 days, and there's that little wobble, particularly around the men's 100 breaststroke, when with Shimanovic you took another massive jackpot, and it swings the momentum of the match. So those little battles within the battle are going to be key, aren't they?
I think so, yeah. And I don't think we've ever seen the impact of jackpots quite so much as we do in that second day patch for us. I mean, we've obviously got some really strong swims on day 2 as well. But it's just that moment where you're getting a bit comfortable, with your lead, or you've just scraped into the lead. And then suddenly it feels like you're frantically paddling to get back in the mix. So it is exactly as you say. It's not just winning and trying to get those jackpots ourselves, but it's also trying to avoid them if you're not at the top end of the spectrum there.
And important in that little passage of play, if you like, that session on the second day to stay in it, because London does finish strongly. I mean, we've been very strong in the 400 IMs, and the skins we're well covered. I mean, I think it's fairly clear in the men's that whoever gets the picks is going to take breaststroke out, because no one will want Ilya Shimanovic doing the skins, and so well covered on the men's side, and a good mix of people on the women's side as well across all the strokes. So that little thing could be vital, and of course it gives man of the moment, Duncan Scott, a chance. He's in that 400 IM. A nice little aside in the TV coverage last week with James Gibson saying, well, they can't swim him in everything, but it feels like he is, basically.
Yeah, I think it's probably been a bit of an exercise over the past few matches throughout the playoffs, working out exactly how much he can swim, because he's so versatile, and he does seem to have this amazing ability to recover so well and just be ready not only to swim another event, but potentially to win it. I will be interested to see how many events he's in the final. I think the 400 IMs have been a really, really strong point for us, and now we've got those checkpoints in there. It's a really great opportunity to claw back some of those points after the Shimanovic domination of the breaststroke, which no doubt we'll see again. So I think we're quite heavily reliant on him, but we've also got lots of other people who are performing really well. Sydney's 400 IM as well was great this week.
Well, I mean, Duncan swam some massive programs in Naples, so we'll wait and see where he sits on the start list when they come out. We'll draw things to a close, but would you care to make any predictions?
Oh, I think there's one more thing that we should just say. Our guest that we had on the podcast last week, Tom Dean, has made massive strides in the week, in between this and the previous match. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do with a bit of rest, because it sounds like he has been working really hard to get his fitness back, and hopefully a few days rest before the final, we might see him go even faster. So that'll be something to look forward to. Predictions wise, it's really tricky, isn't it? I mean, obviously we've beaten Cali. I think a big part of the battle between London Roar and Cali will depend on Caleb Dressel and what kind of form he's in. Energy, I mean, my feeling is so far we haven't beaten them. I don't think it's impossible, but I think everyone would have to be at their best, and we might need to get a few lucky touches. And I think, they've been a bit cagey about who they may or may not be able to release from up their sleeves for the final. We understand that we will not have Adam Peaty for the final, despite all our potential kidnappings and so on. But fair enough, he's deserving a break after a long cycle and a very successful one. So we will no doubt do our best without him.
Indeed, I think Energy starters favourites, but I don't, as you say, I don't think it's impossible for the Raw to win. I think Cali can also win. I think LA are probably out of it just because of depth and the way the jackpots will fall and blah blah blah. But you never know. They could upset the apple cart in some other way. By taking jackpots or stopping jackpots or whatever. So it's going to be a really intriguing final. We're really looking forward to it. And fingers crossed for an exciting match, and of course for a Raw victory. Katie, thank you as ever for your contributions. We may or may not be back next week. We're not sure yet after the final, but keep your eyes on social media at Pullbuoy or at Pullbuoy UK if you want to see what's going on or you want to get in contact. In the meantime, thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the London Raw podcast by Pullbuoy. For more episodes, visit www.pullbuoy.co.uk/raw.